Exciting news if you're a Sony fan because they just dropped a teaser and an announcement for the launch of the upcoming Sony Xperia ONE phone, and it's going to be on May the 13th in Japan at 4 a.m. CEST, and it'll be showing the event will be at 10 p.m. Eastern time here in the US on May 12th. So kind of a weird launch time, but this is exciting. You can see the little graphic here. This was kind of their announcement, and the whole thing with this one is it's supposed to be powered by Alpha. That's the words that they're using. They show off a Sony Alpha camera in this little video clip. So I'm really hoping, I'm really hoping this is this like transcendent moment where Sony takes their cameras to the next level. For those of you who've not been around, I've been covering Sony phones for years. I love the Sony phones ever since the Sony Xperia 1 Mark III, the Mark IV, the Mark V, the Mark VI. This one, I'm still holding out a sliver of hope. Maybe we might see a model we can use internationally here in the US, but for sure it'll be available in Japan, and they'll have probably a UK or EU model or something like that. But exciting times. And it's expected, of course, to have the Snapdragon 8 Elite processor, probably 12 gigabytes of RAM, 6.5-inch screen. I'm really hoping it's Quad HD Plus, but from the things I'm seeing, it looks like it might be another full HD Plus thing going on. And everything else is kind of speculation at this point. Is it going to have 30-watt charging? Is it going to have a 5,000 milliamp battery? And I'm okay with the 5,000 milliamp battery. The one on the Sony Xperia 1 Mark VI was phenomenal. Fantastic battery life. Sony went to bat and they killed it in the battery life department for sure. So, interesting announcement. Not a whole lot here. We've seen some of the leaks. I made a video last week showing off the famous, fantastic purple color, which I'm really excited about. Y'all guys, if you've been following my channel for any period of time, you know that I love Sony phones and I love purple. So, purple and Sony, match made in heaven. Haven't had this since the Sony Xperia 1 Mark IV. Which was kind of, I love that phone, but it was disappointing because it was plagued with heat issues because it just didn't have the thermal management that it needed to be able to record very well. Like you'd go outside, the sucker would overheat in minutes. So we're far away from that. And the heat management that they had on the Xperia 1 Mark VI, the power, the updates, it's expected to have Android 15. Sony has done a great job over the last year or two with getting updates out much faster, starting with Android 14 and then Android 15. One key thing to look out for here, though, will we get an expansion on the updates? Like, please, I hope they give us 4 years of updates. If they gave us 4 years of updates, 5 years of security patches, that would be phenomenal. Like, that would be fantastic for this phone. But the big question mark, like the big thing that I'm really curious about is the cameras, right? If you're a Sony fan, and if you're a Sony smartphone fan, we know what we're capable of here. We know what you can do with the Pro mode, the Pro controls, and being able to fine-tune everything yourself. And then with this last one, with the Xperia 1 Mark VI, that consolidation of the camera apps just made things so much better, especially for auto mode. It was always cool to be able to go hands-on manual controls and make the photo look the way that you want it to look. But it always kind of lagged behind in the auto mode. They made advancements in that department. Their auto tracking and their focus is very good. You've got the dedicated shutter button. Of course, it'll still have the headphone jack, should still have SD card, a removable storage. So this is like my dream phone. I love the Sony phones. I love what they bring to the table. And I'm really excited to see what we're going to get with the Sony Xperia 1 Mark VII. And hey, hopefully it works good. I'm curious to see what the price is. That's going to be one thing that's like, because they are very expensive phones. They're not cheap, but that's the reality we live in. When you have a phone company that doesn't make very many phones because they're not widely popular, they cost more money. They can't get that cost per unit down to like Samsung or Apple, where you see like those $1,000, $1,200 prices. So I expect it to be expensive. I'm hoping there's an update on the updates and life support for the phone, and we'll see what else is cool. I mean, there were some nice things that came out of the Xperia 1 Mark VI, right? We had the better battery. We had the better sound. The speakers are phenomenal on the Xperia 1 Mark VI. The display looked beautiful. If we can get the nits up, if we get a little bit brighter, even if it is Full HD+, I know people are going to be upset about that. I used the Xperia 1 Mark VI. I had no problems with it. Principally, I was pissed off because they backed off from that whole 4K thing, but we'll see what happens. I'd really like to see Quad HD Plus, but I'm concerned that we won't see that. Again, it's going to be on May 13th in Japan, early. It's going to be, 4 a.m. CEST. I don't know exactly what time zone that is, but yeah, 0400 CEST, Sorry, no, 11 Japan time. Okay, 11 a.m. Japan time, 0400 CEST, and then it'll be here at 10 o'clock at night Eastern time in the US. But exciting stuff, fantastic things. There's a lot of excitement in the smartphone world right now. Got the new Sony phone that's going to be coming out in what's today, the 7th? We're talking about just under a week. And we're expecting the Samsung Galaxy Edge phone to come out soon. The Motorola Razr phones just went on pre-order today. So if you're a smartphone enthusiast, if you like the stuff that I cover on this channel, stay tuned. I will be buying the Sony phone. You'd think they'd send it to me. But for whatever reason, I work with Sony US, but this is a Sony Japan thing, and I can't even get a contact for those guys. So Sony Japan, if you're watching, send me a phone. I love covering these things. I will buy it regardless, of course. So I'll be covering it. I'll be buying the purple one, and I'm excited about it. I really get excited about the Sony phones, and I know a lot of you guys and gals out there do as well. They're really good phones, and they are a very niche device, but this will be interesting to see. I'm curious. I'm really curious how they're going to pull this off, and if maybe it's kind of like a consolidation of the phones, because they had the other camera phone that they made. I'm drawing a blank on the name, but it came out like 2 years ago and it had the 1-inch sensor on it, the Sony Xperia Pro I. So I'm curious if this might be maybe like a consolidation of the Pro I and the regular Xperia 1 series, bring some of that Sony Alpha camera technology. I mean, if they can really come out and impress, especially with maybe some computational photography, which they were very soft with on the Xperia 1 Mark VI. But they were working on it because they realized that that's kind of where things are at. More people with phones want point and shoot capability along with the manual controls. We've seen a lot of this deployment with Google and their Pro Controls, same thing with Samsung. So Pro Controls has kind of made it to a lot of phones nowadays, even like the OnePlus 13, and you can take some really good photos that way. So I'm curious. I'm curious what we'll see. I'm really excited. Love me some Sony phones. I can't wait for this to get here. I think it's probably going to go on sale around July, which that's kind of tracked with previous phones. So if we get a launch date next week, or get the announcement, and then we get a launch date for July, I mean, there'll give me some time to save up for it because it's an expensive phone. It will be an expensive phone. So brace yourself for that. Brace yourself for Sony Impact. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you're a Sony fan, stay tuned. I will be covering this phone pretty well once I can finally get my hands on one, and we'll see what happens. Last year, they even had a couple decent pre-order deals, so I'm curious if they can make this more manageable price-wise, and then who knows with the whole tariff situation, right? So everything's kind of up in the air at the moment, but exciting stuff. I want to let you guys know. Hear it from me as first or as soon as possible. I've been out of pocket today. I do want to say, for those of you who watched the Pixel video yesterday, massive outpouring of support, and thank you so much. I mentioned yesterday that my grandmother passed away yesterday morning, and my family, we're dealing with that right now. But so many people, wonderful comments, prayers, thoughts, kind words, everything. I can always rely on you guys, especially to help lift me and my family up when things like this happens. My mom passed away last spring at the beginning of the year, or winter, I guess. And now my grandma, who is like my second mom. So we'll miss her dearly. And she was a massive supporter. She didn't even understand this stuff. I mean, she was born in 1933, and I would try to explain it to her, but I would always call her. Every time I would go somewhere, I'd talk to her on the phone every day, and I would let her. I was in Japan, I'm in New York, I'm in San Diego, wherever. And she was always there to listen. But she was an amazing woman. Thank you so much for all your support. And let's look forward to this Sony phone and what it brings for all of us fans. So thank you again for everything. You're all wonderful. You're amazing. And we'll be back soon. But if you have any questions, comments, gripes, concerns, complaints, all that stuff, please, of course, go to the comment section. I'll do my best to get back with you. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching. And I'll see you guys next time.